Welcome back, Curious! Ever since the Avengers Endgame was released, Marvel has had its work cut out for them in creating something as big and incredible as that movie. But it's not to say that they aren't going to try, and if the latest news and gossip about the Spider-Man movie are anything to go by, then they might just achieve that. Especially with the news that so many of people's favorite actors from the previous Spider-Man films are coming back to reprise their roles. Who do we know that will be returning to the MCU? Did the success of the animated movie Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse have anything to do with it? And how could this tie in with Disney Plus series WandaVision and the second Doctor Strange movie? Stay with me until the very end to find out the latest news and theories, but before we continue, don't forget to turn on the notifications and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our future videos. The ending of Avengers Endgame left a lot of questions, especially with Marvel's upcoming Disney Plus series, which we'll touch upon in a moment but later in the video. Now, if for some reason you haven't seen Endgame yet, then there are some spoilers in this video, so here is your warning. In recent weeks, more and more news and gossip with regards to the third Untitled Spider-Man movie are beginning to come out, and starting with the 100% confirmed returns, or at least if the movie's IMDb page are countless and articles are anything to go by. But it has been confirmed that both Jamie Foxx and Alfred Molina will be returning to reprise their roles. Alfred first appeared in the 2004 Spider-Man movie as Dr. Otto Octavius, or more commonly known as Dr. Ock. In Sam Raimi's take on the superhero movie, Molina gave a fan-favorite performance when he portrayed the brilliant scientist who turned into an 8-limbed villain. According to The Hollywood Reporter, the actor being cast in this film was first rumored in late November after the site called GWW had posted that the actor was spotted on the set of the new movie, and it's no surprise that he took his role, as in a 2014 interview with Collider, he was asked if he would like to reprise the role, to which he replied, "Now, that was the most fun I think I've ever had on a movie of that kind. You know, those big sort of features where you spend like 6 months hanging off a wire, you know, and that kind of stuff. But it was the first movie of that kind that I've ever been involved in. I had a wonderful time. I loved it. I mean, I'd go back and do it again in a heartbeat." Alfred's return is going to be tying over 3 generations of movies about the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and this comes after the news that Jamie Foxx will also be making a comeback to reprise his 2014 role from The Amazing Spider-Man 2, in which he played Max Dillon, more known as Electro. The 2014 film star Andrew Garfield, so the 2014 Maguire and the current Tom Holland, it would nicely tie into those 3 generations together, though there will be other ways those generations could be tied, and we'll touch upon that in a moment. Marvel and Sony had toyed with the idea of bringing a character from the previous movies back to the current ones in the final scene of Spider-Man Far From Home, and once again a spoiler warning. In the final scene of the movie, a breaking news report is playing on the screen outside the Pennsylvania station in New York, in which a video filmed by Mysterio, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, is showed that framed Spidey for the attack in London. It later said that the video was published on the controversial website The Daily Bugle, and a clip is showed of none other than J. Jonah Jameson, and with the one and only J.K. Simmons reprising that role. So it seems that JJ has switched from a newspaper to a website in this installment of the superhero adventures. As some of you avid fans will know, Simmons portrayed the role of Jameson in the Tobey Maguire trilogy. At the start of, some fans just attributed this cameo as nothing more than given that then after Stan Lee passed away and he could not be the one to do the iconic comeback. Movie enthusiasts are now talking that this is a hint as of what's to come, or what would come given that we still don't know any concrete information. Now, how could the 3 generations of movies tie together in one way or another? Well, the rumor is that both Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire would be coming back for this movie have gone around the internet for a while now, but none of them is confirmed. However, it seems that Collider is confident that this is what's going to happen. According to an article on their site, they are confident that Garfield will be coming back, and they said that if Marvel and Sony can manage to close a deal with Maguire, that he will most likely be back as well. So to find out how this all could be possible storyline-wise, stay with me until the very end. Another thing that they seem to be confident about is that Kirsten Dunst will be back to reprise her role as Mary Jane, and also Emma Stone could come back to her role as Gwen Stacy. With JJ back, I'll bet in a cameo, Electro and Doc Ock, these returns would be more than possible, and it all depends on the actors, their agents, now, you know, behind the scenes negotiations, and most of all, the plot. So let's just hope that we won't have to witness Uncle Ben's demise again. Enough is enough, Curious. So we'll get it, you know, he passed passes away, but do we really need to be reminded about it in each film? With all these rumors and speculations, it seems that just like in the animated Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, this upcoming movie could open up to a whole new world of possibilities. And given how much of a success the animated one was, grossing over $360 million in the box office alone worldwide, it would be no surprise that this is the route the producers would want to take. If this is indeed something that they do, there is a possibility that Emma Stone's Gwen Stacy could portray Spider-Woman from an alternate universe, and in which she is either called Spider-Gwen or Ghost Spider. So for those of you who have watched the animated movie, then you will know that Spider-Woman was one of the main characters featured in it alongside an older Peter Parker and the main protagonist of the film, Miles Morales. And speaking of him, fans have also been wondering what the possibility is of Morales making an appearance, or more like an introduction, in the third installment of Holland's Spidey films. With so much still unknown, it's something that is right now being discussed, but not only by fans, but the other movie websites such as Screen Rant. So if the multiverse is something they will venture towards, it would only make sense for them to include Miles, as he was the main character of the animated film. This could even be more possible due to the fact that in Homecoming, the actor Donald Glover plays Aaron Davies, whose alias is Prowler. In one of the scenes, he tells Peter Parker that he doesn't want weapons in the neighborhood, as he has a young nephew who lives there. And who is his nephew in the Marvel Universe? None other than Miles Morales. So with the character being hinted at in the Homecoming and now this possible multiverse movie, fans are asking themselves the question, who could play him? Before his small part in the first movie, many were calling for Glover, but well, that's out of the question now. So who else? One of the fan favorites is Stranger Things' Caleb Mclaughlin. With his role in the Netflix show, he has risen to the top of the fan cast list for Miles, and other names that are often mentioned include Blackish star Miles Brown, Renzi Felix, known for his role in Hulu's Runaways, and for an aged-up Morales, Moonlight actor Jarrell Jerome. Though these are just some of the fans' ideas, and for all we know, Marvel producers might go into a completely different direction and cast an unknown actor, or even not introduce this character. But now the most important question, how could the past MCU movies have set up for this multiverse travel to be possible? Well, here enters a still relatively new character to the films, Dr. Stephen Strange, as well as the character of Scarlet Witch. This would perfectly set up Marvel's Phase 4. EW has reported that with WandaVision dropping on Disney Plus in January next year, ideally Marvel hopes WandaVision will be just the pilot episode of a long-running TV dynasty. The studio is already hard at work developing 7 additional shows, with each one connecting to past and future films. This, for example, could be true in the case of the Loki series, as in Infinity War we see Thanos end his life. Yet in Endgame, the Avengers travel back in time to 2012 and face their past selves. Loki manages to escape with the Time Stone, meaning that in some alternative timeline, he is still alive and perfectly set up for the show. And this goes on to show that the multiverse would be possible. And possibly the biggest hint of this happening could be none other than the aforementioned Doctor Strange. Benedict Cumberbatch is set to reprise his role in the third Spider-Man movie, so once again this just plays more in that direction. And given that his own second movie is titled Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, it would be very possible that his appearance in the Spidey film could set up for that. And could also bring up the question, can any more characters make a comeback such as Iron Man or Captain America? Even more so given that their reported dates. According to the IMDb page for the Untitled Spider-Man movie, it is set to be released on the 17th of December of 2021, while the second Doctor Strange movie is listed for the 25th of March of 2022. And this would mean that it's more likely that it would pick up right after the events of Spider-Man. So curious, do you think that the third Spidey movie will be a multiverse? Could Marvel finally introduce Miles Morales into the MCU? Are you excited for all the past actors to be making a comeback? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and I will see you again in the next video.